You could trace us all back to this one woman, and again, she was supposedly originated in Africa.
But it's interesting, I think, that they call her Eve, mitochondrial Eve.
All the people groups on the planet, so Caucasians and whatever, all the different people groups stem back to this one woman. And then there's another camp that's leaning towards more of what I was taught when I was growing up, and that was that you had a common ancestor, and they split off into the different people groups. And that's a different interpretation, because then what we would say is that different people groups have evolved at different areas. There's some people who are more human than other people.
Of course, that's what Darwin was saying years ago in his, not Origin of Species, but his other books. He was saying that the different races, and he grouped people according to skin color at that point, they evolved at different speeds. And since Darwin was a white man from England, well, there's they've evolved the fastest, the people over in England.
Exactly.
White skin and so on. But the Australian Aborigines, who have extremely dark skin, they haven't evolved very fast, so they're still closer to the animals.
Right. Now we're going to
imagine how that would lead to racist ideas and the class distinctions, the racist attitudes that stem from evolutionary theory.
Right.
That the different races, often grouped by skin color, of course, the different races evolved at different speeds, so some are closer to animals. Now we should throw this in here very quickly. Modern evolutionists are not racist, generally. We should throw that in there.
Yeah.
But in the past, there have been some horrific things that have been done in the name of evolution that focused on racism. Here's a newspaper article. This is, you can see the date there, February 10th, 1924. Here you have Stone Age men discovered on Antarctic Island. They've all got dark skin, right? You know?
So the idea being they're less evolved than the white races. This is what the article actually.
And there's other examples of this on our website as well.
Mm-hmm.
An example that we point to quite a bit it was done in Creation magazine a number of years ago. Here's Ota Benga, and he was put on display in a cage in a zoo in the Bronx or something, right, in New York. He was brought over from another country, brought into a zoo so people could see, oh, look, here's something like a missing link, something on its way to becoming human.
They actually put them on display with apes as an example of a missing link. Here's the ape, here's this person, and then modern humans. So it's really a horrible thing.
And as we move forward in time, we hinted at this already, Hitler, in his ideas about people with dark skin, the black people, people of different races,
or the Jewish people, they were subhuman. This is what the propaganda films would commonly show. They were subhuman.
And historians have looked back at what Hitler did at the Second World War, the 1940s and so on, and they said Hitler was consistent with his evolutionary views.
Yes, and as a matter of fact, I've read large portions of Mein Kampf, Hitler's book Mein Kampf, and you can see his evolutionary Darwin.
He wanted to dedicate that book to Darwin, didn't he?
That's right, you know. Now, some people think, well, okay, that was back then, and they're quite apologetic about that. But
what's happening today?
What's happening today is quite shocking, actually. Here's a picture of a book written by J. Philip Rushton. Now, he's a professor of psychology at the University of Western Ontario. He wrote this book in 1997. Let's look at some of the things he said. This is actually being commented on by Professor Barry Mailer, commenting on Rushton's book. This is what he said. Blacks, according to Rushton, have larger genitals, making them more promiscuous, smaller brains, making them less intelligent than whites and Asians. Using 60 different measures, Rushton ranks the races along an evolutionary scale, with blacks at the bottom and Asians at the top. This is a professor, 1997, in Ontario, Canada. I mean, that's shocking.
So this is happening today.
Yep, and there's the reference there. I mean, we need to think about something. If we're teaching our children that we all come from animals, from apes, basically, you know, this is our evolutionary past.
Right.
And there are different people groups evolving at different levels, and then we're wondering why there's racist attitudes. We really shouldn't be shocked. I mean, you look at Europe, and they're always talking about, well, look at the soccer teams, and you know, there's racial things.
It's a more recent example, isn't it?
Yeah, very recent example. You know, here's a picture of a couple of soccer players, obviously having an argument, and but this comes from an ABC Sports article. Here's what it said: several Black England players were subjected to monkey noises from the crowd during the 1-0 defeat at the Bernabeu Stadium on November. Monkey noises, and. It continued and said, why was Spanish soccer player Robert Carlos recently greeted with cheers and monkey noises from Spanish fans as he played a game? Because Carlos is brown, not Caucasian. Soccer, the world's most popular sport, is again revealing what some consider a basic Caucasian and European mindset. The world's people of color are subhuman. Now, where does that concept come from?
And if you're taking the Bible consistently, you wouldn't get that.
You would not
all
get that.
people go back to the Tower of Babel. There are Christians who are racist. We can
Right.
Let's admit that, but they're not being consistent with that history that's there in the Bible.
Right, and that's the thing to point out. It's if someone is racist and they believe in evolution, that different people groups have evolved on different. They're being consistent.
They're being
You can
consistent
say
with
they're
what
not
they
being
believe
right,
about
or
Yes.
that's not nice, or whatever you want, but it's still consistent. Whereas the Christian who's a racist, that's inconsistent with Scripture.
Right.
You can't find it there. And so, I'm sure we've all seen this famous, monkey to man sequence. People wear it on their T-shirts and all this kind of stuff. But let's look at it. On the left-hand side, you've got dark-skinned apes. On the right-hand side, you've got Caucasians.
You get lighter and lighter as you get more evolved.
When a white person's going hoo, 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 to a darker-skinned person, he's basically saying, you're closer to an ape.
Please, my brother Cain. Please, I'm Abel, your brother. Please don't kill me. Oh, shoot. Cain. Cain. Your brother calls to me, Cain. What have you done? I've done nothing, Lord. I've done nothing, Amen. I've done nothing. Yes, you have. I can see it on your face. You will pay for this murder, Cain. No, I'm sorry, Lord. I'm sorry. Lord, oh man, I'm sorry. Oh, no! You swiped me with the mark of leprosy. Oh my gosh. Everyone is gonna want to kill me. The sun is gonna want to burn me. I must flee. Flee to the mountains, to the snow areas. But I will be back with revenge.